the Earth's friend would also be affected. Revelation.
I think it's working really, really well. I think it's working really, really well. Huh. Okay. I think I'm done with this radio. I don't think there's anything more I can or should try to do with it. Because again, there's always a risk. Oh, I got to do the FM pointer. Oh, right. That's the last thing we got to do. The FM pointer. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip over to FM here. With no antenna. I'm going to try to find, let me go down to the end. The pointer's stuck right there. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to pick off 95.7. With no antenna. Okay, this will do. This is 91.5. 91.5. It's where the pointer happens to be sitting. I can attach the pointer to the string at this point, and we're good. The reason it's weak is I don't have the antenna connected. So as long as I don't retune the radio, I can just I have to flip the radio upside down and whatnot to get at this pointer. Oh boy, I hope I can get at it. And stick it so it's right at 91.5. Let me just make absolutely sure here. Yeah, that's it. Good. Okay, I gotta get ready to glue that part. Okay, so I've tipped the radio up onto its back, and you can see the camera here that I've got looking in. This is what you see. And what we see is the plastic carriage here. Plastic needle. Yeah, look at it. So I want to pull it out here where I can see it better. Okay, it too has a guide string, so it can't fall right out because it's held up at the top end. This is the bottom end now we're looking at. So I'm looking to see if I can see the clips on it. Just sharpen the focus on that image a wee bit. There. So I'm trying to look right up. Right up. This is the part way up in here that should be gripping the string. Why isn't it? How come it's off? How come both of these things? I think earlier I determined that they had both broken. So okay, let's move it a little further over. It's not laying in its proper place of getting caught on things. Yeah, okay, so I can see that the clip end is broken off over on this shoulder, same as the other pointer. So I think both these just failed from old age and continuous tension for years and years and years. And I'm willing to bet that this is a common thing in some of these radios. So again, the option I have is to glue it. Unfortunately, gravity's working against that right now. There, now the string is roughly where it should be. This is supposed to be down lower. I think it's because of the angle of the radio. It's fallen upwards. It's really awkward working through there. Very, very awkward. Power's off, yeah. That doesn't help much. One approach here to get access to this, so I can get it down under this bar or through here, about the same. One option is to remove the whole front of the radio. I have to think a bit about this. This whole front plastic piece. You have to remove the knobs and then slacken off these clips that are on either end. Clip here. And then this whole plastic plate will come off. I'd rather not do that, although it doesn't look too difficult at all. Looks like these upper clips are on screw locked slides, so if I just release the screw a little bit, this will go up, this will come off, and I'll get access. I think I got to do that. I'd kind of like to take these knobs off anyway to clean them. Now we look at the knob. Let me just switch cameras again. Well, no, I'll stick with this camera. There's a little divot right below where my finger is. Very hard to see in the camera, it's so far away. But that's where the hex screw is that's holding this on. You have to slide a tool up there. So you turn the knob to where you have clearance to get a tool in, like that. Actually, if I can utilize this camera now to show you this little deal. Here we go. There we are. So you can see the little divot, and then you can see the screw back there. Maybe a little bit out of focus. Now I'm going to stick a small screwdriver in there. Sometimes these screws are pretty hard to get loose. Actually, I can put a fair-sized screwdriver in there. Let's see if I can do it. No, I haven't got the lever, it's a small handle. Let's try it now. This might be too big. It won't go in the slot. And do I have anything that's kind of in between? This might have a finer point on it. Finer, yeah. Okay, it's a pretty big screwdriver, but like it's camming out and it's popping out of the slot here. Work. Oh man, sometimes I just don't have the tool that I really need. So what we'll do is we're going to use that first screwdriver and I'm going to apply some extra power to it. Okay, it's in. Takes. There we are. So a lot of these knobs have two screws at right angles to give a really good grip. This one only has one screw. The other thing about this knob that's very important to realize is it's all plastic. Some knobs you'll take off, there's a metal insert in here, and the screw is going through the metal insert. That's really strong, so you can tighten that screw all you like. Nothing bad will happen. But others are plastic like this. Now you tighten up that screw, you put strain into this structure that they've created here. Overstrain it too much, and given enough time, crack. Crack will develop. And there's no sign of that in these knobs. So likewise, I have to do the same over here. Bit of a tangle up on my... What's happened here? Yes, it's been a strange camera day in here. Okay, there should be another divot here we can get to. There it is. Okay, same sort of deal. Let's see if I've got the fortitude to do this without putting the tool to it. Something seemed to turn. that's loose. Just had trouble getting it off. A lot of radios, the shaft has a flat side, and the screw would be aimed for the flat side, but these are completely round here. One thing about removing these knobs, I was going to do that anyway because I'm going to want to clean them up. To make sure I don't lose the screw here. So that's a bit of a disaster. Okay. Better just make sure this one's in a little bit too. Because, you know, the look of the radio has a lot to do with what this looks like. In terms of its cleanliness and the like. Okay, so I might as well keep the camera rolling here. I'll show you. So here's the locking screw right back here. All I'm going to do is just release that, and we're going to be in business. Slide this here. There's one on the other side. I don't know if I've ever removed one of these dial plates. Maybe this is the first time. And this one. I have to hang it over the edge of my bench so there's room for the screwdriver. Up in there. There we go. See the string right there? I think that's the guide string. The pointers. Okay. This felt like plastic, but now that I've got it moving, it's glass for sure. Maybe it's the other radio that was plastic. Up we come. Off it comes. There they are. This is, I don't want to break this piece of glass. Or that's the end of the radio. Now we can see everything much more clearly. Let me just adjust things a little bit here. Okay, now some things are completely visible. So this is the upper pointer that I glued on the string, and you can see the lower guide. It's right here. It's very taut. Very, very tight. It's going around this fixture here, not the one I was showing. It's got a little piece right here. It looks like there's a number of settings. There's a little groove, so you can move the string up and down in the groove to rearrange the tilt on it. That's what it would look like to me. So the same string that's the guide for this one is the guide for this one. It's just gone around. This feels more like not string, but it feels like a catgut guitar string. That's what it feels like. So some kind of plastic. And it's tied off on this far side here. There's a little knot. Wow! And they managed to do that with this kind of tension. Don't break that. Whatever you do. I still can't see the actual. You know what's happened now? I don't have the scale on to know where to slide the pointer. It's kind of you have to put the scale back on the front, the glass, and then move the pointer to the right place, remove the scale, and then apply the glue. I gotta turn this even further here. Son of a gun. There we go. Okay, I think I can do it. So the pointer is not where it should be at all. Should be way up like this, not way down there. And it should also be, how could it be that way? This would be pulled down. I'm not finishing my sentences. This can't go too far down or it'll bump into these guys. But for sure the clip is well, this is really odd. The clipping part is way up here. You can see this piece is broken off right there. You can kind of see it. So that would put this thing into it. The string would be about here. That doesn't make sense because it's there's a lot of tension. I don't think this should be under tension. I don't think you should be pulling it out. This one's not pulling it out. This one's got quite a bit of a slot here for it to move. This one, it's not the same. It's tinier. So the guide string, the one that pulls it, if you leave it, goes way down there. It's almost interfering with this piece right here, this bracket. The idea is the pointer is supposed to pull the guide string up based on the strength of this. And that lifts the guide string up like this. And then you can move it across. And it doesn't bump into that bracket. That sounds like a crap. Why would they do that? That's a crazy arrangement. Maybe the pointer never comes this far over. Maybe that's closer to the truth. Because glue is involved, you can't really get this wrong. So what would happen if I glued it right like it is now? Then it's going to pull a little bit up. I think if you can get it this far, it's going to bang into this. So that's kind of like temporarily attach it to the string. Put on the faceplate, position it. I don't know, man. This is a logistics nightmare here. Just don't break the string. If you break a string in a radio like this, yikes. Another thing that's happened without me thinking, when I took the knob off the tuning knob, I turned this thing around. So I had the radio tuned to a certain spot. It's not there anymore. But when we look at the dial, and you look at the little marker, it appears on every band, including the FM band, and they're all in the same place. So that means if I turn the upper dial all the way the AM dial, if I turn the AM dial, I have to push one of the AM buttons. And then move this all the way here. It's marking where that one should be when it's moved all the way. FM. Oh, it just crashed into its own spring here. There's a spring right there. The carriage bumped into it. Now, if it were hooked on where it should be, where it appears that it should be, there, I got my finger in here. There, so one side is where it would be if everything were copacetic. So if that's true, this guide string is pulled down and this is pulled up a bit. Now maybe that's to be expected. Maybe that's the whole plan. It puts a little bit of tension into everything. It makes it just a little less floppy. Maybe that's the plan. Because this one appears to be that way. the other one. The other one appears. You can see the string here is going down towards the pointer. It's not going straight across. So this must have been. Oh, you can't build up any. You can't build anything up here. Yeah, what else is really weird? There's two different kinds of string here. You got this large type of string up here, and then a hard to see brown string that appears to carry the pointer. It certainly carries the pointer. And the two of them. Wait a minute. This lower string's not moving at all. It's definitely the FM tuner. I got on an FM. This means this was probably right in here. Oh my gosh, I was about to stick it on the wrong string. What's that lower string for? It's supposed to be like that. And that makes a lot more sense. Now, all the way this way. Whoa! Okay, look, the two pointers are bumping. I can't believe how complicated this has become. Okay, so the pointers should be lined up at this point. So this should be even further over. Something like that. On the big white string. And you know what? I can see the divot in the string. Just like I did on the upper one. The AM one. Okay, I have one of my options then is to glue it where the divot is. The divot is right there. And there's another little mark there. With this other pointer, I glued it in a position, the string in a position different from where it normally connects. So this pointer's riding lower. It would normally be up a little bit, like that. I don't think it's going to make any difference on that one. So this one, similarly, well, I can get one side on. And then, where's the mark here? I start muttering. Right there. Well, if I can stick some glue there and some glue over here, it's done. What's that lower string for? The lower string. The lower string. So the lower string is here. There's another one here. What's this for? Oh, maybe this is yeah, so this spring is operating this color wheel, which is tied to the tone control. Okay, so that's what this is. And this little brown string. Now what's this other brown string doing? It's not very tight. It's pretty loose. I see what it is. I think I see what it is. So there's a backing paper here. There's two light bulb burn marks in it. This backing paper is hung on a string. You can see the string here. Look, it's a brown string. Taped over here with the remnants of the tape. It's not really very fixed. And what's happened is it's probably under a little bit of tension. In fact, yeah, there's a spring over here. A spring right there. So there's two. There's probably a spring on the other one, which I just can't see. The lower one. And this thing is suspended on those two strings. It's nothing more than paper folded over at the top here. Just a tiny little fold. Because you put too much of a fold, you'll see a line that will come down too far beyond the display. So all these radios are done this way. What's happened is it's come off the lower string, probably pulled off or torn away or something. That's allowed the paper to float free into the wrong place. Wait a cotton pick a minute, how can this be true? How can this work with the pointer there? Well, I can't reach the string because the pointer body's in the way. That string is on the wrong side of the pointer. So the string is supposed to be in here. See, like this one up here. Like this one up here. But it's not. It's below it. So I'd have to, wow, if I glued it, I would have been in trouble already. If we leave this piece of paper hanging, a couple things about this paper. If we leave it hanging, it's going to burn more on the lights. Of course, only one light works, or no lights work right now. That's another whole area to think about. Oh my gosh, this is just, you know, yeah, fixing radios. It's got nothing to do with electronics. It has to do with strings. Well, I think I got a grip on everything now. How everything's supposed to be. How can I get it there? So this piece of paper really should go. But we need something, or else you have two spots of light and just see it right through that dial plate. Oh boy. Much thinking must ensue. So I'm going to have an awful lot of time in here today. So I'm going to call it quits here. I can spend my day thinking about how I'm going to deal with this. I do believe the other similar radio has also two burn spots in the paper. It suggests this whole thing has happened to it also and requires some kind of fix. And all these radios are similar like this. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks a lot for watching. I'll give this some thought and try to come up with a grand solution to everything somehow. See ya. Well, once again I can say good morning because it's now April 4th. And I've had a little bit of time to think about this radio and the circumstances in it. And I think you might be able to see I've lifted one light bulb. I've ordered some new light bulbs for the radio. These are hard to find. These screw-in ones. Hard to find where you can get them quickly. I'm sure you can buy something like this on eBay if you want to wait quite a while. But oddly enough, the screw-in type, not oddly enough, I don't have any of these in stock. I have all kinds of bayonet lights. And what I've ordered are some LED lights that will screw in, and they work on the same voltage. We'll see how that works out. They're going to show up tomorrow. And the reason I'm doing this is because, as you can see, the backing paper or the diffuser has a hole. That's not just darkened, that's a hole right through it. This side too, as I discovered yesterday, because it had come off the lower string support. It had fallen down up against the light bulbs and got cooked. So my plan is to do just what I'm doing right now, which is remove this paper and look at replacing it. Let's see if we can get it out of here. Okay, so it's a folded over piece. Here it comes. There it goes. You'd think they could set that right on fire, especially if it's doubled over like that. And also, I wouldn't imagine those lights are that hot. So to get into this state, this would have to be up against those bulbs and operating for quite a long time. Why did it come off the bottom? So it looks like some tape was run along here, along the bottom. This tape feels like it's just literally disappeared. So I can feel it here. Yeah, it just feels like it's just disappeared. Could could the tape evaporate off of it? So I think the simple thing to do here is just get a piece of regular paper and make it the same size and fit it in there and put it in the same way it was. But what that does now is that reveals more on the front of this radio, so we can look at. This is one of the few, if any, radios that I've taken it apart to this point. Actually, this is the only one, come to think of it, really. We can look in where the switches are. Interesting. So I have pretty good access for spraying cleaner up into these switches. Although this radio hasn't exhibited much difficulty with the switches. A lot of these radios, the push-button switches, have gotten dirty inside, and they become quite a problem. It's not. I mean, it would be better if they make good contact or make no contact, but they tend to make a semi-contact, which is a real problem. It means sometimes you push the button and the radio works good. Next time you push it, it's only at 80%. Can you even tell? Next time you push it, it's at 65%. Something wrong. Push, 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 back to 80%. Oh, I guess it's okay, but it's really only at 80. It can be a real problem with these buttons. Doesn't appear to be the case with this particular radio. So, the issue though is the pointer, and now I have much better access to the pointer. And I was just discovering that you really need to put these exactly as they're supposed to be, or they're going to interfere with that piece of paper, or the paper diffuser or something like that. So I think it's a simple matter of gluing it again. Maybe this time I have to use a better, stronger glue than this guy. This guy's going nowhere. Okay, so I was right at the point of actually gluing it. I just ran out of time. I figured out that you could just line it up with the top one if the top one's in the right place, as long as the dials are all the way to the right side of the... Yeah, so I think it's a pretty simple matter, just gluing that. I think I've got everything figured out. Yeah, the glue is a bit of a one-way street, so you really want to get it right. And it's important to have these in the right position in order to do the remaining alignment activities if I dare to take them on. But sort of decided not to, because I don't think it's too necessary. I think the real issue is lights, diffuser, and pointer. Good. Okay. So what I've done here is I've tilted the radio forward to get gravity to help me position that pointer. I'm just taking my time here so I don't make a mistake. Oh, I almost did. The support string for the diffuser paper is running underneath this, and it's not supposed to be underneath it. Now, how it got there, I don't know. But it's supposed to be in there like that. So if I abandon the diffuser, which I really can't do, there'll be two bright spots of light on the dial front, plus you'll see it right through into the radio, and you'll have a hard time reading the numbers and everything. You can't go without it. This just isn't making. It seems to me what has to happen is the diffuser paper has to pull this string up. Has to pull one string up and the other one down a little bit. Of course, they would want it under a bit of tension. But then you can't have a bending string on a flat piece of paper. It's going to cut the corners on it. What were they up to? How did this get on the wrong side? Somebody must have tried to reattach it or something to the string, and in doing that got it onto the wrong side of the diffuser paper. This one is very taut. Oh, it's on a spring here. Right. I'm getting used to the camera I'm using now for the usual shots. So anyway, there is the spring. There must be a spring on this lower one. How come it's so slack? It's really slack. It's just hanging there. What's the matter? So the spring, well, it's one continuous string. Wow, all the way from here, comes around the end of the bracket of the chassis here, goes down, and then reappears down here. So the string up here is not, I guess it's caught on these corners. Wow, this is all ready to break. There's no doubt about it. So I want this single spring, which is, you know what it is? I know what it is. Can you see the spring there? It's not pulled out at all. It's completely closed. So what's happened is the string has stretched. Here's the other end of it here, coming up through the through here. I think the string is stretched. I think I'm gonna have to replace the string to do this properly, because I think this string is ready to break, because it's in these corners here. Pull my camera back a bit. It's on these sharp corners, and I'm going to be tugging and doing stuff with it as I put that new piece of paper on. In the process, I'm almost certain to break it here. Plus, it's not got enough tension in it because apparently it's stretched. If it's stretched, I'm going to have to accommodate the stretch. It's kind of an unusual knot right there. No, that's just to tie the loop at the end here. So we can easily take the string off. The other alternative would be to simply shorten the string and like just put some knots in it and put it back on the spring. Maybe it's stronger than it looks. Decisions, decisions, decisions. Well, if I put a new string in there, it's not going to break. I have a non-stretching string that's suitable for doing dial work. There it is here. So there's no stretch in this string. It's a little thin compared to the dial strings that are up here, which are quite thick. They're in good shape though. More stuff to think about. Every time I face something like this, I think to myself, okay, well, what can go wrong? That's challenging to try to think of what can go wrong. Usually, things have to go wrong before you realize what can go wrong. And I don't want to get into that condition. So let's see, what else is in store here? Pulling out the magic eye tube and cleaning it a little bit. It's filthy here. Cleaning out the dirt that's in here. Perhaps spraying some cleaner up into these switches since they're accessible now. Preparing the piece of paper, sizing it. I suppose I could just duplicate the original one. Why wouldn't I do that? This stuff's pretty thin. Let's see. Let's just do a little test here. I can get that in my head to think about. This is an ordinary piece of paper. Seems to have the same sort of, oh, you can't really see it in the camera, can you? This one's all turned yellow also. This one's still white. I imagine it was white when it first started. It may not have been. It may have been a little bit brownish. Would white be disturbing? I don't think so. Let's get the glass here. We'll imitate this whole thing. Well, I guess if it were a little bit yellow, yellow or brownish colored paper, it might look just a wee bit better through those gaps, but white won't hurt at all, and someday that white will be a little bit yellow too, somewhere down the road. Okay, I gotta go away and just think about this stuff before I do things. Get myself into trouble. Okay, I'm trying my very best to not make a mistake here that causes problems. I may have already done it. So this pointer, which I glued on the string, is actually lower than it would be had the clips been there. The clips are broken away on the back. So because it's lower by just, a little bit, you can kind of tell now. I realize that there's a slot for the guide string, and the pointer's the guide string's right at the top of the slot. Now, they wouldn't have that. They tend to have it running in the middle like that. So what's happened is, because the upper pointer is low, there's a potential for a collision to occur between the lower pointer and the upper pointer. That would not be good. Now I've stuck a piece of wood down here as a wedge to raise the lower pointer up into position so I can glue it onto the string. It's all really quite tricky to do. This thing's a little bit in the way here. So, I guess one solution is to glue this one lower than it would normally be. The other thing that's happening is the upper string, I noticed earlier, is in contact with this now, because this isn't as high as it really should be. It should be up just like that. The clearances here are, millimeters. So I can get this one lower, but not by much, because the guide string slot is very limited on this lower one. And we're talking just a millimeter the wrong way, and if these things collide, they could potentially cause quite a problem. They really do need to clear each other. Well, so I got the glue out. I have cold feet again to glue it. I'm wondering if I should somehow redo this. Now it's glued, right? And the glue has been on there for over a day. Yeah, it's not coming off. Well, yeah, I think I need to think a little more about this before I get into a deeper trouble. In the meantime, I've had somebody contact me with another one of these radios, a Turandot. Might not be exactly the same model. And then I had another fellow contact me with a Caruso. The Caruso I have to repair is sitting in abeyance in the room next door. Oh my God. I had somebody contact me a few days ago with 4 of these radios, 4 German radios, and I told him no. They are just coming at me left and right. What's with all these German radios doing over here? I mean, they are beautiful looking radios, there's no doubt about it. And when they work really well, they sound great. I mean, that's why they're around. People have kept them because they look so nice and they're very distinctive in their look. So here I am. Okay, I gotta stop and just ponder again. I am so nervous about really making a big mistake here and getting deeper and deeper into trouble. If it was my radio, I wouldn't care that much. But it's not my radio. People have emotional attachments to these things. Yikes. A little bit of coffee always helps. So if I can't raise this one in any kind of easy way, can can I install this one so it's low enough to clear this contact? So that raises the question of, well, can it go low enough to contact something down in the radio itself? And unfortunately there is something down there. And that's this plate that I'm touching here, which has got the tone control. There's another one on the other side. And if I get that pointer down too low, I think there's a chance it'll hit this. I'd like to find that out, if that's really a risk. So I'm also thinking, based on the shape of the plastic here, that I can glue the string, can you see this in the camera? Yeah, on top of the tab there. The normal height for the string would be something like this. I can glue it on top. That essentially puts the pointer lower. Now I've got a piece of wood in here, so it won't go lower. Would it be so low that it's going to bang into that plate? There's a plate right under the wood here. Let me pull this out here. Take a look. We can see right here what's going to happen. Okay, so I have to get down here to do this. Okay, so if it were on the bottom of the string, now it looks like it clears the plate that's down here. So I think that's the solution. Now the pointer, so it's broken. It's all broken at this side. There's a piece here. Interesting. So what has broken off on this side is here on the other side, and what is broken off on this side is here on this side. They're two different pieces of plastic, and I don't think they're at the same height. Which means if I were to glue it on the top of those two pieces, wait a minute here, that's not the string. Oh boy, don't glue it to that. That's the paper support string, which is just falling here because it has no tension. We figured out why that is. Let me get it back where it should be. There. So if I glue this is really hard to even assess. Wait a minute, let me get the upper pointer out of the way. Yeah. Whoa. Okay, the little radio is going to fall. Okay. Just 1 second here. So now I have a little more finger space. So what I'm thinking is if I glue it to the top of these two existing pieces, I'm going to end up with a pointer on an angle, which is very, very terrible to look at. Doesn't look that way. Looks like it would be straight. Okay, that's good. That's another thing. So I can glue it in two places on the tops here, make the pointer run lower. It's still within the range of the slot here, I think. Let me look at that now. That's interesting. Why is it like that? So the slot range is here, and the string this thing would normally be up like this. You think they want the guide string at the top here in the middle of the slot. The slot is very restricted on this one. That's an interesting thing too. They have a very restricted slot size, but they have a big slot size over here. You know, whoever designed this spent a lot of time thinking all these things out. It shouldn't be too surprising to me that I have to sit and spend a lot of time thinking stuff through. Is that really level, or am I fooling myself here? This. Yeah, it looks like I can glue it the way I'm thinking. This will be low enough to avoid colliding with this, high enough to avoid colliding with that. still be vertical. We still have the paper to fit in here, which is another huge challenge. It's just, you know, so fiddly. So fiddly. I have to think my way through that. Should I think my way through the paper thing? It's not a lot to think about, is there? It goes in behind all these strings. It goes between these guide strings and the drawstrings, I guess we can call it, or the drive strings. And so I'm looking down at it from above. There is a little bit of repositioning that can be done out here, right in here. So you can move this string. I don't want to do it. You can move this guide string a little bit. The other thing that's kind of interesting is that this is probably the designers messed this up. The guide string rubs on the top of the tuner. So that's probably it. And maybe they designed this whole radio, put the whole thing together, and then the designer looked at it and went, "Whoops! Too late now." I'm sure they prefer to not have this guide string. It's not moving anywhere, so it's receiving wear here. Feels like fishing string. Feels like nylon fishing string is very much what it feels like. So it can probably sustain that for a long, long time. I wonder. He spent his 15 hours thinking this thing through, and he should have done 18. I'm nowhere near that yet. Okay, so I finally got up the nerve now to glue this on. Something like that. I can see the divot in the string. Pretty sure its position is good. That's interesting. I have to glue it towards the front of this one. Here we are. These might crash right now, but that's okay. Good. It's lined up good. Okay, that's done. So this will probably be the end of this part of the video. Tomorrow I should be getting some lights, but they'll probably come later in the day. So I think for 2 days I'm going to put this radio away and try to speed through another project in here. And then the lights will come. I'll be able to experiment with the lights I'm getting. Because they're LED lights, I have some doubts about them being really effective in here, so I want to know that before I start gluing in paper and all those kinds of things. So thanks so much for watching, and I'm gonna carry on as always. Oh, see ya.